Thank you for tuning in to Tribe Broadcasting. This is Ethan Dague. Today we're going to be interviewing Travis Phillips, the captain of Kansas Highway Patrol.
Good morning, Ethan.
Hi. So what is kind of KHP? Like what do you do as Kansas Highway Patrol?
The Kansas Highway Patrol is a state agency that gives a state jurisdiction over all the statutes and laws in the state of Kansas.
So what is kind of your history of being a Kansas Highway Trooper?
My personal history?
Yeah.
I came on the Highway Patrol in 1994. Prior to that, I was a Hays City police officer from 91 to 94. So I've been on the patrol. I'm on my 30th year.
So what does a normal day kind of look like in the Highway Patrol?
Well, normal day for a road trooper would be coming on duty and then patrolling the highways of the state of Kansas. Normally they're kind of contained to one particular zone, they call it, and so they might have one or two, some have 3 or 4 counties that they patrol in, and they just patrol and make sure that the highways are safe.
So, like you said, road trooper, what other kind of troopers are there?
So there's several different avenues you can take if you join the Highway Patrol. When you come on the Highway Patrol, you'll be a recruit trooper, and you'll go through a 24-week academy. We also are entertaining a prior law enforcement academy, and those will be around 13 to 14 weeks. You have to have 3 prior years of law enforcement in Kansas for that. Once you graduate the Highway Patrol Academy, you'll go into field training. It's a 77-day field training with 2 different field training officers, and once you successfully complete that, then you'll be assigned to full road duties. And as a road duty, like I said, you'll have the several counties that you might have to patrol in, but your main duties will be patrolling that zone, watching for people that are conducting criminal activity in that zone, enforcing traffic infractions and misdemeanors and felonies, things like that.
So what are kind of the rankings at the Kansas Highway Patrol?
So when you start the academy, like I said, you're a recruit trooper, and then when you go out into the field, you'll be a probationary trooper for a year. Once you successfully complete your probationary period, you'll be a Trooper 1, and then as you go through the ranks, the next step will be 5 years, you'll be a Master Trooper, and during that time, you also have the opportunity to promote into different areas of the patrol, like the first step would be a Lieutenant. And that's what I did. I was a lieutenant for 10 years and then promoted into captain, and I've been a captain for 4 years. There's also technical groups on the Highway Patrol, and there's numerous technical groups. A lot of the technical groups that we have out in this area would be the Mix app, and what they do is they enforce the trucking laws. Mm-hmm. And we have several Mix app troopers. We have K9 units. Explosive units, HDU. We have a unit that specifically goes out and looks for high-level crimes, and that's our Troop N unit. So we have lots of different directions you can go on the Highway Patrol.
So with you being a captain, kind of what is your job versus like a Troop 1 person look like?
Well, with me being a captain, my job is more administrative now than it is road duties. I do miss the road duties, tell you that, and anybody can attest out here in Troop D that I still like to get out and get some windshield time. So my particular duties would make sure that the 30 to 35 troopers that we maintain out here in Troop D and the 5 lieutenants that we have everything they need to do their job successfully and safely. And I go through their paperwork, go through background investigations on prospective troopers. So mostly, like I said, administrative duties.
So how long is a normal day, like a normal shift for a Highway Patrol?
Right now we have 8-hour shifts, and they're entertaining, looking at different schedules and whatnot. But your typical road trooper will work an 8-hour shift, can be extended if they're engaged in something, like a wreck or a criminal investigation or an arrest. But most of the time it's an 8-hour shift, and they'll work a weekend of nights, a weekend of days, and then they'll have a 4-day weekend off. So every third weekend's a weekend off for the field troopers.
So what is kind of the training process they have to be at Highway Patrol?
The training process is it's a very impressive training process. I had the opportunity to go through the Kansas Law Enforcement Training Academy when I was a Hays City officer. And then, of course, when I got on the Highway Patrol, I went through the Highway Patrol Academy. And there is quite a bit of difference in the structure of that. The Highway Patrol is a paramilitary organization, and we utilize a lot of the military structure in our command staff and our training. And so when you show up at the Highway Patrol Academy, it would be in your best interest to be in very good shape and have a mindset that nobody's going to make you quit. It's a tough academy, but when you walk across that stage after 24 weeks of being down there, it'll be one of the proudest moments of your life.
So, like, if someone's a police officer right now, what's kind of the big differences between, like, the regular police academy and the troopers academy?
Oh, I would say mostly the structure and the demand. The Kansas Law Enforcement Training Academy, they do an awesome job down there preparing your city and county officers to do their job. But the Highway Patrol Academy is specific for Highway Patrol. They don't cater to any other law enforcement agency. So because of that, they can have a definite program that I guess builds the confidence. They basically kind of tear you down through the first half of the academy, and then the second half of the academy, they're going to build you back up. And I tell you, like I said, when you walk across that stage, it's a very proud moment for you.
So if someone's looking to get into the Highway Patrol, what would be some tips that you'd give them?
Well, the biggest tip is to make sure you understand that we do a very thorough background investigation. And so if you are engaging in activities that are not conducive to law enforcement, it'd be a good idea to stop that immediately and show the Highway Patrol that you have intentions on upholding the laws in Kansas on your off-duty time and on your on-duty time. So.
And you have to be 21 to join, right?
Yes, 21 is the minimum age to get on the Highway Patrol, and that's with all law enforcement in Kansas. You can do other things with the Highway Patrol prior to 21. You can dispatch. There's motorist assist vehicles that we have in eastern Kansas. We're trying to get some of those out west now too. They go out and they help citizens that are broke down the road and things like that. You can do those prior to 21, but if you want to actually be a commissioned officer in Kansas, you have to be 21 years old.
So do you guys work with other agencies, like with anything they have going on?
Probably one of the, I guess, neatest things about the Highway Patrol is our ability to work with local city, county agencies, other state agencies like KBI, Wildlife and Parks, but we also work with a lot of other federal agencies and then U.S. agencies. During my career, we've been partnered with Secret Service to transport dignitaries across the state of Kansas, and that's been a really positive experience for me. I had the opportunity to spend 2 weeks with Bob Dole, Senator Bob Dole, years ago. There's just lots of opportunities to work with other agencies. The DEA is another huge agency that we work with. There's lots of criminal element that go across the highways out here, and some of them are carrying large amounts of drugs. In my career, I've had, I guess one of them was 600 pounds of marijuana in a U-Haul truck. And so I was able to partner with the DEA. I went to federal court in Wichita on that. I've come across 13 gallons of liquid PCP in my career, and so we partnered up with DEA and the El Paso Intelligence Center on that to get that information out. So it's it's a really one thing I really love about our job is our ability to partner up with other agencies and make things happen. In fact, the Highway Patrol was established in 1937. And the reason why we were established is to erase the boundary lines that the local departments have. And with the criminal element back then, bank robbers and whatnot going across county lines, it was difficult for one county or city to pursue in and to have intelligence on that criminal element. And so the Highway Patrol came along and started racing those lines, and now we have statewide jurisdiction, and we can chase the criminal element across county lines.
So do you guys do like any detective work, like human trafficking or anything like that?
You know, so the state of Kansas, the Kansas Bureau of Investigations and the Kansas Highway Patrol are actually two separate elements, but we work together a lot. And one of our directions you can go on the Highway Patrol is our Troop N, and what they do is they are more intense on the criminal side of the trafficking and stuff out here. And they actually have a program they put on human trafficking. Our Highway Patrol troopers put it together, and they go around and instruct other agencies on what to look for on human trafficking. One of the first human trafficking cases that we documented out here in Kansas was out of Oakley, and it was a trooper out there that stopped a vehicle and discovered that this 17-year-old was with a male that wasn't related, and it led into an investigation, and we discovered that she was being trafficked. And since then, we've come across lots of other trafficking cases. There's gangs in California that have broke into a juvenile facility and kidnapped females out of the juvenile facility in California, and I was involved in that case in Kansas where we, I guess, rescued 16-year-olds who I come across and got her away from the gang that kidnapped her.
Do you know like how many, like estimate how many troopers are employed right now?
There's probably, I'll tell you, there's like 525-ish radio numbers. So 10 of those radio numbers were retired because they were killed in line of duty, and then the first 10 we don't use 1 through 10. So I would say there's a little over 500 troopers positions available on the Highway Patrol. We are short right now. In Troop D, we're about 28% short of troopers, and that's why our recruiting, we're trying really hard to get people recruited in the Highway Patrol. We are actually in a lot better shape than a lot of places in Kansas. My counterpart in Kansas City, I talked to him a while back, and he thought he was about 60% short in Kansas City. So I would say right now we are short, but we have 510-ish positions available on the Highway Patrol.
So what are kind of some tips to prepare yourself for the academy or after the academy to kind of prepare yourself for the road? Because they're very different things, right?
Sure. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Ethan, I'll even go back as far as to how to prepare yourself even in high school if you're interested in the Highway Patrol. Some directions you can go. A lot of people that join the Highway Patrol have some type of criminal justice type background, either a 2-year or 4-year degree in criminal justice studies. That's awesome, but you don't have to have that. The biggest thing is just make sure that when we go around and background the people that you've been associated with, that they tell us that, man, that person is perfect for the Highway Patrol. We want people that are self-motivated, because a lot of times you're out here working the highways by yourself and you might not see your supervisor for several days. And so we need you to be self-motivated. We need you to have integrity. We need you to have direction, and be able to take instruction and direction. One thing I tell all the young troopers that come out here from the academy, we have a meeting every time they come out here and when they start their field training, and one thing I expect of them is that they do the right thing every time, and that's not too much to ask. And I tell them that when you make a mistake and you don't do the right thing, I expect you to tell me the truth, and I'll help you through that. It's the taxpayers out here and the citizens that we're sworn to protect, they expect that out of us, and they expect us to do our job in a professional manner, politely. We take the service, courtesy, and protection motto that the Highway Patrol has very serious. To me, that's more of a promise than a motto. It's service, courtesy, and protection, and I wish the folks in Kansas in general knew how many compliments were called in on the troopers almost daily across the state of Kansas. It is pretty neat.
So, like at my age, I'm a junior, so what would be like some things that I could do to prepare myself like in college years or even during high school?
Sure. Mostly keep your record clean, and don't put yourself in positions that would be hazardous when we're doing our background investigation. But you want to keep yourself in some type of shape, because the Highway Patrol Academy is very strenuous physically, but it's also very strenuous mentally. And so you have to prepare yourself for the physical side of it. And if you have that down, if you have your physical side taken care of, and you can and go through our first 10 days of the Highway Patrol Academy is introduction week, and it's very strenuous. And if you got the physical side down, then the mental side will be easier for you. And then prepare yourself mentally. We're very strenuous on the mental side of it, because you are working on the roadside, a lot of times all by yourself. And so we need you to be able to handle the stress of somebody on the side of the road that's maybe not being very nice to you. Because we still, even though they're not being very nice to you, we still promise the service, courtesy, and protection. And so you'll be surprised out there, the calmer you stay, the calmer they stay. And when they're trying to, I guess, get under your skin and maybe entice you into doing something wrong, the calmer you stay, then they see that's not working, and then they just give up. So preparing yourself physically and mentally going into this academy is huge. And like I said, if you want to try to further your education until you're 21 years old by taking the criminal justice type background classes, that would look pretty favorable on a background investigation.
Thank you for tuning in to Try Broadcasting. This was Ethan Dague with Travis Phillips with the Kansas Highway Patrol. See you next time.